everyone, Dave from the internet here, inviting you to continue exploring industrial automation with me. On this episode, we're going to talk about the business landscape and the Purdue Model. Before we jump in, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone that has liked and commented and messaged me and connected with me in the last week since the first video went out. And I really appreciate everything and all the kind words and all the people saying that they're looking to follow along. So let's jump into it. The best way I can put together the business landscape of industrial automation there are four major categories. We've got the manufacturers, we've got the distributors and manufacturers representatives, we've got end users, and we have service providers. On manufacturer side, they're going to be your large companies like your Rockwell Automation or your Siemens. Sometimes there'll be specialized companies like Inductive Automation and their Ignition software platform, and sometimes there'll be smaller companies that focus on just a small portion of the overall ecosystem, such as Banner Engineering. Distributors, manufacturers, rep are going to be companies like Rexel, they're going to be companies like Tally, and they're going to be lots of local distribution companies, many of whom you probably have experience with, some of whom you haven't. I would highly suggest getting to know your local distributors. And your end users are literally going to be anyone that makes a physical product. So if you have city water or city sewage, you are working with an end user who is using various different industrial automation products to be able to perform their tasks. The food you eat, if it's processed in a facility, is almost definitely using industrial automation. Your cars, your parts, your paper, your pens, virtually everything that you touch that is manufactured comes from an end user of industrial automation. And then your service providers are going to be companies like Corso Systems, who are going to take the products, use their expertise and know-how, and help the end user do what they do. Historically, the flow has been manufacturers are going to have the distributors and the manufacturers' reps, and they're going to sell to them, and they're going to sell to the end user, or either the manufacturers or the distributors are going to sell to the service providers are going to put together the package, and then they're going to help the end user use those products. The reason why many of the distributors and manufacturers reps and service providers and manufacturers exist and have so many engineers and other people working for them is all of the product expertise. There aren't very many end users who have vast product knowledge of everything. And not just end users, service providers, distributors, and manufacturers reps either have people who have their niches of things that they're extremely good at or parts of products that they're very good at, as we're going to see in the Purdue Model next. The reason that I suggest working through a channel like this is because if you work through your service provider or you work for your distributor or manufacturer's rep, you're going to have that knowledge and you're going to be able to ask them questions, and they and you are both going to be able to ask the manufacturers and the service providers questions, and that knowledge is extremely key in making sure that an implementation is done well. Jumping on to the Purdue Model. The Purdue Model is from Purdue University. There are 7 layers, starting at layer 0, ending at layer 5, with a DMZ in the middle. Confused yet? No? Let's see what we can do. So starting at layer 0, we have the process control. Those are going to be things like sensors, drives, and actuators. Layer 1 is going to be your basic control. Those are going to be your batch and safety, such as your PLCs and controllers, depending upon your architecture. And layer 2 is going to be your area supervisory control. That's going to be things like your SCADA and or DCS. The first 3 layers are going to make up what we call the area or cell zone. Layer 3 is your site-wide control. That's going to be things like your MES, your manufacturing execution system, and that's going to be your manufacturing zone, those first 4 layers. 5th layer, which is the DMZ, is what we're calling our firewall. Please note the castle, because my clip art didn't have a wall on this. And that's going to be literally where we firewall off our enterprise and our manufacturing zones, and it's going to be where we talk about a lot of our IT-OT convergence. This is where safety and security is a big concern. There are many companies that quote-unquote air-gap their manufacturing zone or think they've air-gapped their manufacturing zone. This is where a lot of issues have happened, and we'll dig into this later. Layer 4 is your business and IT section, and that's going to be your ERP, your email, your intranet. Layer 5 is going to be your enterprise networks, such as your internet, connected to the internet, your networking. It's going to be all of your world-looking layer. And layer 4 and 5, built on top of each other, are the enterprise zone. I would like to make the caveat that this is the most simple 7-layer Purdue model that I could come up working with. There have been many people who have written their thesis and have devoted entire careers into each of the various different layers. This is not an all-encompassing explanation of the Purdue model, anything like that. This is ideally an easy explanation so that I can help everyone understand what the Purdue model is so that we can continue to build on it and people have a good idea about what each of these 7 layers are when we're talking about it moving into the future. Again, Dave from the internet saying thanks for making it this far. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please feel free to comment below, let me know what you think. Let me know what you want next. I'm playing around with a couple of different ideas of the next episode, but check back next week on Casual Thursday.